Hey all, this is the last lesson in this unit, and we're going to use Trig again, as we have. And this time we're going to talk about some applications of Trig, and we'll give you a couple vocabulary words. So here I have a picture of a ship, I have a submarine, and then I have some birds flying in the sky. And I have four angles labeled here. So there's two types of angles. There are four here, but there are only two different types. If I'm the birds, and the birds are flying horizontally this way, and then one of the birds looks down at the ship, we call this angle that's formed between the birds flying straight and then looking down, we call that an angle of depression. It's not because the angle is sad. It's because the angle is formed by going down. There's another angle of depression in this picture. That would be if somebody was looking straight off the back of the ship and then they took their eyes and went down to look towards the submarine. That's another angle of depression. The other two angles are called angles of elevation. So again, if I'm standing on the ship and I look out and then I look up this time, I elevate my eyes to look at the birds. That's an angle of elevation. Similar to that, if somebody's in the submarine here and they're looking straight and then they move their eyes up to look out of the water, that's another angle of elevation. So elevation means you're starting from looking straight out and then you look up and make an angle. Depression means you're looking straight out and then you move your eyes down to make an angle. So these vocabulary words or phrases are important because we're going to need to draw some pictures, and then we're going to use what we used in the last couple lessons to find missing angle measures or missing lengths. So here's an example. It's everybody's favorite. It's a word problem. Of course, we're in geometry. We like pictures, so we're going to take these word problems and we're going to turn them into pictures. So I have an oil rig that's 45 meters above sea level. I don't know if you know what an oil rig looks like. I don't really have a great idea, but it's probably something that's tall. I can even label it oil rig. And it's 45 minutes above the sea. So I'm going to draw the sea, and not 45 minutes, sorry, 45 meters. And I'll say that this is 45 meters. So the angle of depression of a ship is 12 degrees. We're trying to find how far the ship is from the base of the oil rig. So that's saying if somebody's standing on top of this oil rig, looking out, and then they turn their eyes down and they look to a ship. There's my little ship. That angle is 12 degrees. So straight out and then down makes a 12-degree angle. And we want to know how far that ship is from the base of the oil rig. So that's going to be this distance. We'll call it x. And you might see in here that I kind of have a right triangle. So I'm going to draw this right triangle then without all my fancy pictures. Label this side. Label this side. Now the tricky part is getting, where do I put the angle? Because the angle is not in this right triangle. But I will tell you this, the angle of depression is the same as the angle of elevation from the opposite point of view. So the person that's standing on the ship looking up has an angle of elevation that is the same as this person's depression. So this angle is 12. Now I can use my trig, so from 2 lessons ago, solving right triangles, I have the opposite side and I have the adjacent side. So I'm using tangent. The tangent of 12 is equal to 45 over x. I'm going to divide this by 1 and then cross multiply, so I get 45 is equal to x times tangent of 12. And then I need to get x by itself, so I divide both sides by tangent of 12. And now I go to my handy calculator and do 45 divided by tan of 12. And I get that x is approximately 211.7 meters. So that means the ship is pretty far away from the oil rig. It's 211.7 meters away. So we took our angle of depression vocabulary, drew a picture. It doesn't have to be pretty. Mine's a box with a little, I don't know, I guess a cute little boat. You could just write the word boat if you want to, just to know that that's where the boat is. And then I took that picture and made it simpler for myself to look like problems we've already been working on, and I found x. So I got one for you to try. These aren't supposed to be easy right away. I want you to get used to drawing pictures and then see if you can find the height of a building in this scenario. So pause here and give this a shot. So I have a distance of 12.45 meters from where a surveyor, that's a person, is standing to the base of a building. So I have a building, and I have some guy over here, and he's 12.45 meters from that building. He's looking up an angle of elevation all the way to the top of the building of 76.78 degrees. And we want to know how tall the building is. So again, I have a right triangle. I have one side that's 12.45, one is x, and this angle is 76.78 degrees. And just like the last one, I have tangent because this is the opposite side from this angle, and this is the adjacent side to this angle. So I could say tangent of 76.78 equals x over 12.45. This one's nice. I don't have to do too much more. Multiply both sides by 12.45 or do my proportion. X equals 12.45 times tangent of 76.78. Now I'm using my calculator, so if you don't have this at home, again, there's the app, or you can leave it here and finish it up quickly in class. I'm going to get that. This guy's looking at a building that is approximately 53 meters tall. So again, drew a picture. It's not pretty. I got a stick figure guy. I got a boxy building. Use my vocabulary that the angle of elevation is this man looking up, man or woman. And then I took that, I made just a plain old picture that we've been working with for the last few classes, and I used my trig to find x. And this means that the building is 53 meters tall. So I have a you-do for you. I want you to draw a picture. I want you to use the vocabulary, angle of depression. And I want you to find out how far this helicopter is from the car in this scenario. And then if you have questions, you can always ask in class.